just popped in. Please stand for Audrey's family, thank you.
So for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking of you. Just give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. Lord, help me today, show me the way, one day at a time. Lord, help me today, show me the way, one day at a time. I'm only human. I'm just a woman. Help me believe in what I could be and all that I am. Show me the stairway I have to climb. Lord, for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking of you. Just give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. Lord, help me today.
Thank you, please be seated.
One day at a time. You remember when you walked among men.
I'd like to leave but daffodils to mark my little way, to leave but tulips red and white behind me as I stray. I'd like to pass away from earth and feel I'd left behind but roses and forget-me-nots for all who come to find. I'd like to sow the barren spots with all the flowers of earth, to leave a path where those who come should find but gentle mirth. And when at last I'm called upon to join the heavenly throng, I'd like to feel along my way I'd left no sign of wrong. And yet the cares are many and the hours of toil are few. There is not time enough on earth for all I'd like to do. But having lived and having toiled, I'd like the world to find some little touch of beauty that my soul has left behind. Welcome and thank you for attending today to farewell our much loved Audrey, who passed away on the 16th of September. I would like to welcome family and friends who are watching via live stream, and a special welcome to Kay and family watching from Nelson. My name is Jude McNabb, and it is an honour to have been asked to officiate Mrs Miller's service today. We have received apologies from Duncan MacDonald, Bevan and Justine and family, Kerry and Michelle and families. Following Audrey's service, Doug and family will travel to the Balclutha Lawn Cemetery to privately lay Audrey to rest. They will return soon after to share more memories with you all over afternoon tea and refreshments. On behalf of Doug, thank you all for your love and support during this sad time. It is this support that has helped to ease the pain of losing our much-loved daughter, sister, wife, auntie, cousin and dear friend. Your acts of friendship and love have not gone unnoticed. It is comforting to know that Audrey's family are not alone in their grief. The comfort in having the presence of Audrey may indeed be lost, but the comfort of having had her in your life is never lost. Thank you to the St John Ambulance for all the amazing care they took of Audrey after her fall, and to Clutha Health First for their support. To Audrey's nieces and nephews, thank you all for your love and compassion you had for your special auntie. You went above and beyond to make her feel loved and cared for. To Chris O'Hara, thank you for helping Audrey with her garden when it came a time for her to have some help. You were never just the gardener, you were a good friend that Audrey looked forward to seeing. To Sandy, thank you for your friendship and help around the house. We have come together today to remember the life of Audrey Miller and to comfort those who mourn with their sympathy and with our love. Today, in remembering and thinking about Audrey, we have a choice. We can choose to concentrate on our sadness, or as a group of family and friends, we can remember her with love and cherish the days and hours we had in her company. We can choose to celebrate Audrey's life and keep her close to us in spirit and thought. The special moments and memories in your life will never change. They will always be in your heart today, tomorrow, and forevermore. Hold on to your cherished memories of the past, to the blessings and the laughter, the joys and the celebrations, the sorrow and the tears. They all add up to a treasure of fond yesterdays. Today we acknowledge and share our feelings of loss and grief that have presented since Audrey's passing. With love we hold her in our hearts and dear in our memories. We are truly grateful she lived and walked in our world, leaving us with so many memories to hold on to. Although there is sadness in our hearts, we can feel happy for the moments that brought us joy, made us smile and made us laugh. We cannot move forward until we pause and look back to start establishing the significance of our much-loved Audrey by telling her life story. Audrey Elwyn Robson was born on the 31st of July 1936 to proud parents Vera and Ernie. Youngest sister to Owen, Mari, Ivan, Lorna and Kenny. Brought up at Lovell's Flat, she had a good childhood doing what kids do best. Attending primary school at Lovell's Flat, followed by secondary school at South Otago High, Audrey made many lifelong friends. A love and talent for hockey started while at school and would see Audrey playing for many years. A loyal team member of the Kaitangata hockey team she was. When Audrey finished high school, she started working at the Otago Electric Power Board in Milton. Each day she would ride her push bike from home at Lovell's Flat to work. This was approximately 12 kilometres each way. We can only imagine what that journey would have been like with gravel roads and the unpredictable weather conditions. Working hard and saving her money, Audrey saved up to buy a scooter, and what a luxury that must have been after the years of pedalling back and forth. In the 70s, the common socialising events were the weekly dances, and this is where Audrey would meet her husband-to-be, a handsome Doug Miller who caught her eye on one of these nights out. It wasn't long before Doug and Audrey knew that they wanted to spend the rest of their lives together, and with that, in February 1976, they married in Balclutha, followed by a honeymoon up the coast. Once married, Audrey continued to work for the power board in Balclutha, then for Don Webster, who took over the shop, a very loyal worker who was loved by all her customers. In her spare time, she would enjoy travelling around the globe with her beloved Doug. Their adventures saw them travel to Thailand, Australia, China and Bangkok. And as we all know how much Audrey loved the game of rugby, it was no surprise that Doug and Audrey would thoroughly enjoy their trips to not one, but 2 Rugby World Cups, 1995 in South Africa and England in 1999. With a love of everything sporting, Audrey and Doug enjoyed playing indoor basketball together over the years. A lot of laughs and memories created doing things together. A love for flowers and all things gardening, Audrey would be in her happy place pottering in her garden. With green fingers, she always had an immaculate garden, producing a vast array of colour through the seasons. Not only did she tend to her own garden, she mowed her mum's lawn each week. When sisters Mari, Lorna and Audrey caught up with each other, they would often frequent to many nurseries buying plants to add to their pride and joys. These sisters had a common bond, a love for anything garden related. Doug did mention that it could be quite a long wait sitting in the car waiting while the girls enjoyed browsing and shopping. Time was not a problem to these girls. When Audrey wasn't in her garden, she would enjoy being a member of the Balclutha Garden Club, sharing her skills and learning from other members. With a love of dancing, Audrey would look forward to meeting up with her friends at line dancing. And each Friday she would enjoy going down to Homedean Retirement Home to help with the afternoon tea and visiting the residents. Not one for baking, Audrey sure was a good cook, and making pavlovas for various occasions was her specialty. She sure knew how to make a good pav, well except for one day, when she made a pav and put it in the oven, to only return hours later to kind of skite to Doug that she had created another pavlova masterpiece. You can only imagine the look on her face when she opened the oven door to find there was no pav in there, only a tray. Picture this, Audrey was the only one in the house when she made the pav. She never went anywhere that day. Doug was away, so how could a pavlova disappear? Doug trying not to laugh and Audrey so mystified as to what had happened to her masterpiece. Doug later opened the bottom warming drawer of the oven to find a gooey blob of white on the floor of the warming drawer. And this story went round like wildfire within the family, and everyone just loved to tease Audrey about her disappearing pav. A founding member of the South Otago Town and Country Club, Audrey dedicated many hours of voluntary work to get the club up and running. She played a huge role in the catering committee, which saw them catering for many events around the district to fundraise. They were never short of staff, as the boyfriends and husbands would quite often get roped in to help. Of course, the pay wasn't too flash, but the token of thanks in the way of a beer or two saw the men offering to help out more often than not. And from all accounts, there was never a shortage of offers of help if there was a function to cater for in a waka. Apparently the appreciation of a job well done was generously supplied to the catering team. So it is very fitting that we say our farewells to Audrey here in the club today, where she dedicated so much of her time and passion. Audrey and Doug loved getting down to their crib at Packer Point. Doug would go out sea fishing and Audrey would be happy at the crib, reading her book, doing crosswords or entertaining her friends. However, there was one day when Doug managed to talk her into going out on the boat for a day's fishing. This turned out to be a one-time only adventure. Spending most of her time down in the engine room of the boat being sick, Audrey was so pleased to see the land and get off that jolly boat. Never again did she go out fishing with Doug. The crib was the go-to place for family and friends to visit, particularly at New Year time. So many memories have been created and treasured over the years. Audrey loved her cars and her nieces and nephews fondly remember her driving around in her minis. She took so much pride in her vehicles that she owned. And a love for animals she had. From feeding the pet lambs to looking after her friend Shona's dog, Audrey's kind nature meant she had a special bond with animals of all sorts. One very special pet was her mum's pet goat that Audrey got attached to. Now this goat had a happy life, grazing in a paddock and being spoilt by all who came near it. That was until one day when Audrey was visiting her mum and went out to see the goat. It was looking a bit worse for wear and not looking too good at all. After a lengthy discussion with Rex, the two of them had diagnosed the problem. It needed a drench, they thought. Audrey stayed with the goat and pampered it while Rex went to the shed to sort out some drench. Once he drenched the goat, he and Audrey were quite proud of their efforts and were looking forward to seeing the goat come back to good health. Well, that didn't happen. Within hours, the goat was dead. How could that be? The two confused, self-taught vets pondered. After some investigation, it was discovered it wasn't drench that was administered, but antifreeze. Audrey, we've only but covered a snippet of your life, but as today goes on, we will continue to share more memories of your life. Life is what you make it, and you made it beautiful. You left footprints wherever you travelled, and you left fingerprints on every heart you touched. Please stand as we sing How Great Thou Art.
thy power throughout the universe display. Then sings my song, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my song, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When Christ shall come, which shouts of acclamation, and take me home, what joy shall fill my heart, and I will kneel in humble adoration, and then proclaim, my God, how great thou art. Then sings my song, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my song, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art.
Please be seated. I would now like to invite Philippa and Sonia to come forward. Hi, I'm Philippa, and together with Sonia, we are both Audrey's great nieces, and we'd like to share some special memories of Auntie Audrey. First of all, it's so lovely to see so many of her family and friends here to celebrate her life. Ever since we can remember, Audrey and Doug have played a huge part in their lives. We felt so fortunate. For us, they were much like another set of grandparents. When each of the great nieces and nephews were born, she was so excited, showing lots of care and her love. Family connections were very important to Audrey. She always took great interest in knowing what everyone else was up to and loved to share what she knew about others. She was very much a social butterfly. She loved when her family and friends would come to call in for a cuppa and a chat, and we all loved going to visit Audrey and Doug, as there was always plenty of biscuits in the tins and lollies on the table. In our family, Audrey was renowned for her catering at Christmas and other special occasions. I guess she learnt those skills from her years of catering that she did with her friends of the Town and Country Club. Asparagus rolls were one of her specialities. For many family events, she always overcatered. One dessert would mean 3 to her and would still be eating these days later. One of her cousins, Logan, absolutely loved her meringue bird's nest that Audrey bought for Christmas one year.
He loved them so much that he ate a whole tray. Ever after that, Audrey would make these without fail for Christmas Day, thinking they were everyone's favourites. In our earlier years, we remember visiting Grandma Robson out at Lovell's flat, where Audrey would be up and down, mowing the lawns, taking care of the gardens too. Audrey took great pride in her own garden, and until recent years she spent many hours developing and creating the garden of colour that she has today. It was such a shame that she missed seeing the spring daffodils looking so bright in her drive. Visiting Audrey and Doug at the beach was always such a treat. The first of their cribs was always a hive of activity, with plenty of people calling in to see them. Doug would let us raid the garden for peas, and after a swim in the sea, we would be dipped in the barrel of rainwater to be rinsed off. As young children, we would visit Audrey at the power board where she worked. We would be led to the video section where she would let us hire movies for the weekend. Audrey loved fashion. She was a very mod dresser. Even in her 80s, sporting a denim jacket with a bit of bling. There would be lovely accessories too, a flowing scarf and lots of rings on her fingers. She really did take great pride in her appearance. Audrey enjoyed buying new clothes, and her wardrobe was full, not to mention the wardrobes of the spare bedrooms. Whenever she went on bus trips with her friends around the district, she always came back with some goodies to show. Each week, Audrey would get at least 4 different magazines. She loved to read what was happening with the royals, but most of all, she loved them for the crosswords. Whenever you would visit, she would be in her seat on the couch with a mag in her hand and sections of the dictionary scattered about. We offered to buy her a new dictionary, but she preferred the ones she had. As children, we were always so impressed that she had been engaged 5 times before meeting her soulmate Doug. What a catch he must have been. Audrey has been such a kind and caring great auntie to us, and what a privilege it was to have her in our lives. We know that her spark, vibrance and energy has touched so many of her family and friends.
Thank you. Audrey's longtime friend Shirley Hennessy will now come forward.
I think a lot of what I'm going to say has already been said. But however, this is to Audrey. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Good. To Audrey, my much loved and loyal friend. As I've been reminiscing these last few days, there have been so many memories and stories that could be told, but oh, where to start and what to tell. I guess we should start at the beginning. I first met Audrey when she and Doug were courting, and our friendship developed from there. At first I was a little in awe of Audrey, as she had a very outgoing personality, knew everybody, and had genuine interest in how they were all doing. She often forgot that I was quite a bit younger and that I had been out of the district for a while. Audrey would often say, "Oh Shirley, you know so-and-so. You should have worked with them at the hospital. Or you would know them, their brother or sister, etc." It was like there was a connection from the beginning, and that Audrey had unreservedly accepted me as her friend, and over the years that friendship has grown and lasted the test of time. As I said, Audrey universally and unreservedly accepted me as her friend, but that didn't happen with everyone. She was a bit cautious with some. However, I do know, Doug, that you were her one true love and her greatest friend. Mind you, Audrey took some time to find you and had several practice runs, but she knew you were the one from the beginning. So that led on to the fact that Audrey had a bit of an interest in matchmaking, because she would want everybody else to find that one special person, or everybody should actually have someone special in their lives. So while mostly matchmaking was in fun and jest, there was the odd time when Audrey thought it would be good to just try and take it a bit further. I'm not sure how many of those matchmaking sort of efforts ever paid off, but it was worth a try for Audrey. Hospitality and food. Audrey and Doug were generous hosts, loved a good party, and there were many of those. New Year's at the beach was one long party. There were many tales to be told from them. New Year's Eve was usually an all-nighter, and for those that were staying, there was a designated space for them. In the old crib, the penthouse was reserved for the Hennessy's, and this was non-negotiable. I remember one year when it was going to be a little bit crowded, and it was thought that there should be some renegotiation of where people would be staying. But Audrey put her foot down. The penthouse was for the Hennessy's, and that was not to be played with. So we had many, many great times at the beach. And then there was Audrey's involvement on the Town and Country Club, the Ladies Catering Committee, and also as a social member of Kaka Point Bowling Club, plus Gardening Club and the others that have been already mentioned. But it's fair to say that all of these activities involve food. And while we know that Audrey was a good cook, she was not a confident cook. And many's the time she would be asking, "Now Shirley, how do you do that?" Or "How long do you cook that for?" And so we exchanged a lot of chats about cooking. Audrey never thought she was quite as good a cook as a lot of those around her. So when it came to at the beach, and of course everybody pitches in to prepare the food, and Audrey would be helping to make something, and somebody else would be helping her with it, and somebody would make a suggestion, and the next thing Audrey would be over at my side and she would be saying, "They're better cooks than me, I think we'll leave them to it." However, I was going to talk about the disappearing pavlova, but that's already been mentioned. So that was one of the things that I've never known anybody else who could make a pavlova disappear. She always had also, that's been mentioned, the asparagus rolls. Now they were mean asparagus rolls. I was really impressed with those. I've never seen anybody else make asparagus rolls quite like Audrey did. And Audrey always, if she had to take a plate to, particularly later on when we were going to social activities at the bowling club, and if she'd forgotten to tell me that we needed to take a plate, she would always make an extra lot of asparagus rolls so that I had something to take as well. So that was part of the generosity. Whenever we went out for a meal, you had to be very quick to get in and shout for Audrey, because she wouldn't let you pay for anything. It was always her shout. "It's my shout." So you had to be quite devious about how you went about getting in before Audrey did, so that it was even Stevens, as so to say. When I did do a few little help outs at the Town and Country Club Catering Committee events, I didn't really be involved in that much because I had a young family and I had other interests in the town that sort of kept me away from that, but occasionally I helped out. What really impressed me was that Audrey would take some food out to the tables, fine, but she'd be an awful long time coming back. There would be so many people that would want to talk to Audrey. And then she might be in the kitchen doing the dishes, helping with the dishes and that, and people from the event would be coming in and wanting to talk to Audrey because they hadn't seen her out in the event. So that was a measure of how popular and how respected Audrey was in the community. When we say that Audrey loved sports, that was, when she was younger she loved her sports, and she always loved her rugby, and her rugby right through to the end. However, latterly when she was, trying to be encouraged to maybe take up bowls or even with the line dancing, she loved the line dancing, but when it started to get competitive, that was it. I don't really want to be competitive, Shirley. I've had my time at that and I don't want to do that. I just want to go, have my time and enjoy myself. And so that meant that, she might, other people might have thought that when she stopped sort of going that, it was just that she didn't want to get competitive. She didn't want to go that extra bit, but loved it all the same. Gardening. Well, gardening was her love. That was one of her loves. And I remember when we shifted from Essex Street to Dunedin, and there were some well-established shrubs in the garden, Audrey got her eye on a camellia and a rhododendron, but they were well established, and they, I didn't think that they were going to shift very easily, and I didn't think that they would actually survive. But however, these two were shifted, and I have to say that camellia still flowers in her garden to this day. Daffodils, as was being mentioned, was another of her passions in terms of her garden, and I would always, every spring, I would always come away with huge bunches of daffodils, and that was, it was always, oh, that's not enough, Shirley, take some more, get some more, that's not enough, because she loved them so much and she wanted to share them, and that was her generosity of spirit. She also helped us at the garden when we got our crib at Kapa Point. She would come down and she would be helping, and we then went on some garden trips, like has been mentioned, and I remember one trip to Tapanui, and we went and we got what we needed from the nursery. That was fine, but then we did a little tour around and we stopped at other shops, and we came home with a lot more than just plants for the garden. Which leads me on to Audrey's passion for clothes. Audrey was very fashionable. She loved her clothes, and a comment she made to me was, when you've had nothing when you're little and you've had mostly hand-me-downs, when you have some money, it's nice to be able to buy something new. However, buying something new was yes, the clothes. There was lots of them. Some of them were never even worn. I'd arrive and there'd be a big bag. Oh, there's some clothes for you, Shirley. Some clothes for you to go through. And often she was much slimmer than I was, but often there would be something. And so, Audrey, thank you for your offering of clothes, because I've had some really nice ones from you and I'm very grateful, so thank you for that. But not only was it the clothes, it was the scarves. Now, Audrey loved scarves, and that was one of her main accessories, was a scarf. And when I visited Audrey in hospital one day in Dunedin, just recently, and she greeted me, and then about the first thing she said was, "Shirley, that scarf looks really nice on you." And she said, "And that's the one you got in a whacker, isn't it?" And I had to think, because I couldn't quite remember where I bought that scarf. And she said, "Yes, you know, when we went to a whacker." And I said, "Ah," I said, "was that the time when I had picked it up and then decided I wasn't buying anything and I put it back on the rack? And then you came along and told me that I should buy it." And I gave in. And she said, "That's right." So Audrey, right till the last, her memory never failed her. Very seldom was Audrey wrong when she was saying something. She remembered. And I was really quite impressed with that after all she was going through, that she actually remembered where I had got my scarf. The other thing about the shopping was that Audrey liked to go to antique shops, and so often she would just say, "Well, we need to go in here," when it was never our intention to go there. And always she would find something that would complement something she had at home or something that she had at the beach. And she would always then be trying to impress me to try and get me to buy something as well. Kaka Point market days were actually quite amazing with Audrey, what she would find and what she would want to sort of encourage me to buy. Now Audrey was not a morning person, and you'd often call up there and she'd still be sitting doing her puzzles and her code crackers, and she wouldn't have be dressed at that stage. She would still be busy doing those. But on market days at the beach, Audrey was down and she was coming in to pick me up even before I was ready. So that was part of her passion for shopping. Family. Audrey, I have to digress just a little bit here. So with clothes, of course, Audrey always thought that she never quite had the figure for some of the fashions that she bought. And for quite a while, Weight Watchers had started in the town, and for quite a while she was saying to me, "I need to lose weight, Shirley. I need to lose weight. Weight Watchers has started. Would you come to Weight Watchers with me?" And I sort of resisted for a while. I kept saying, "Audrey, you don't need to lose weight. If anybody needs to lose weight, it's me." And she would say, oh look, well, just come. Well, guess what? We went to Weight Watchers. And Audrey, I'd have to say thank you, because I actually lost quite a bit of weight. Audrey didn't have to lose very much, and she managed to lose her amount, but I was still going, and so I was pretty grateful for that. So thanks, Audrey. She also, I noticed down at the beach that there seemed to be a few penguins around. And I said to her, and she said, I love penguins. She said, I think they're great little creatures. She said, I like penguins. And so she had started collecting penguins. So it was always a pleasure whenever I went away anywhere, if I could find a penguin that was a little bit different to any of the ones that Audrey had, and bring it back for Audrey. And she was ever so grateful. She enjoyed her penguin collection. She was very family orientated, and as I said, when I first met Audrey, I had a young family. I had Craig and Brent, and they were just little toddlers. Well, Brent was a toddler and Craig was a wee bit, he was still a preschooler. And she took such an interest in the family. She watched them grow. She basked in all of their achievements, and genuinely was really interested in my family. But not only my family, her family. Many a conversation we've had about her pride in her nieces, her nephews, her grandnieces and nephews, and the family at large. She took such an interest in them. She really was very family orientated, and it was a bit of a shame that she didn't have a family of her own. However, that never stopped her from giving and including everybody else in her family. So, Audrey, thank you for including us in your family. But Audrey could be a bit stubborn. When Audrey didn't want to do anything, she would sort of, oh, right. And she would sort of make a joke or just divert the attention for a bit. Latterly, with Audrey and her health, when she had her first fall and she fractured the femur, she had this habit of getting up and putting her feet into her shoes, but not actually bringing the heel up. And so she sort of had them like scuffs. And of course, that was one of the things that probably helped and contributed to her first fall. So when I tried to encourage her to put her shoes on properly and make sure that she had them on properly, if she didn't want to do it, it would be, all right, Mum, yes, Mum. And she had her own way of getting round the situation. It was just a part of Audrey that she had a mind of her own, and she was going to use that mind of her own. She loved people, but if she didn't really want to interact with somebody, she had a way of showing that and of getting around that. So, how would I describe Audrey? My friend, like a diamond, rare and unique, shining bright with her, when the diamond is shined and is polished, shining bright. But there was the odd little rough around the edges where it hadn't been cut. She was a light. She was an amazing person. And she was such a privilege to have been a friend of. So Audrey, rest in peace. Enjoy chatting with all those friends of yours who have gone before and catching up with them and the loved ones that you have not seen for a while. We will miss you, but we will have our memories to share. And we'll look after Doug. Don't worry, he'll be fine. We'll look after him. So, rest in peace.
Thank you. If any of Audrey's family or friends would like to share a tribute, you're most welcome to come forward.
Okay, just a few quick words about Audrey. She was a great auntie. In today's terms, we would say she was awesome, amazing and brilliant, but she was also a bit naughty too. Always happy to see someone and have a yarn, plus occasionally doing a bit of stirring, snorting and laughing at the reaction she got from it. She was a bit of a hard thing. She regularly called in for a gossip until her hip sort of prevented her from driving. She was the last Robson of her family's generation, of a long line beginning in 1866 to come out of Robson Road at Lakeside, which is pretty special. Philip has already alluded to this. Her legendary catering skills were used at many Christmas Day family get-togethers. Her mountains of cheese and pineapple sandwiches and soggy trifle. And lastly, the bird's nest, which apparently certain kids loved, wherever it is. So, here's to all the cups of teas we shared with Auntie Audrey. This is a poem by Michael Ashby called A Long Cup of Tea. Death is too negative for me, so I'll be popping off for a long cup of tea. Do splash out on 2 tea bags in the pot, and for God's sake keep the water hot. Okay.
Thank you. We'll share more memories over a cuppa soon. Often when we lose someone we love, we fear that we will forget them. That is why photos are so precious. They give cherished memories a sharper focus in our minds. With a photo, we are less likely to forget what our loved one looked like. We are less likely to forget our favourite memories. And in a way, our loved one lives on through the pictures we have of them. Sometimes words are just not enough. They don't adequately capture the essence of what you feel. But for many of us, a photo can do just that. Photos can bring out deep emotions. They remind us of who we love and how precious our memories are. When you photograph a face, you photograph the soul behind it. So now we will watch a photo slideshow that was lovingly put together by Audrey's family.
I come to the garden alone while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses, and He walks with me and He talks with me, and He tells and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. I'd stay in the garden with him, though the night around me is falling, but he bids me go through the voice of woe. His voice to me is calling, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known.
Doug, thank you for the amazing care you took of Audrey over the years. As you promised Audrey 47 years ago to love, honour, cherish and care for her until death do you part, you certainly honoured those vows by being by her side through and through. The love and compassion you had is beyond words. How amazing that after 47 years of marriage, you can tell us that not once did you have an argument. The key to a long-lasting marriage is never to stop being friends, and best friends you were to each other. To Audrey's siblings, nieces, nephews, and partners, thank you all for the joy and love you had for Audrey. You were her family. She was your greatest friend and always there for you all. If you didn't have the influence of this amazing lady in your life, you wouldn't be the loving, caring individuals you are today. To Audrey, thank you for the many memories you have left for us to treasure. You will be greatly missed. I know that your presence will always be with us. Thank you for being you. You had an amazing sense of humour, loyal, kind, generous, practical, and very family orientated. But most of all, the love you had for Doug is beyond words. Your heart of gold and love you had for us all is etched in our hearts forever. A life lived with love is an inspiration to us all. As we walk through this season of sadness, our hearts are still thankful because we had a chance to know the incredible person that you were. Please stand. In this journey, goodbye is just a pause. The ones we love are never far from our hearts. Saying goodbye means no more smiles, no more hugs, no more moments on this side of eternity. Yet the beautiful memories bring comfort from the pain. The hours and the minutes tick by slowly, and it's finally time to say goodbye. As we lay you to rest, our hearts break with this final goodbye. Walking this path without you won't be easy, but our memories will keep us company. A beautiful woman with a golden heart kept her family and friends close and never far apart. She shared her love and kindness with everyone near. We will treasure our memories of you, Audrey dear. Her door was always open for anyone who came by. She wore a welcoming smile and a sparkle in her eye. We will remember the daffodils in her garden and the perfume she wore. Every day we will miss her more and more. Here is an example of an idyllic life to lead. She was always there for us in time of need. We will always love you, Audrey, and words cannot explain how we feel now as you are no longer with us. Thank you, beautiful lady. In the spirit of love we meet, in the spirit of love we depart. May your spirit live on forever in our hearts and soul. Rest in the peace you deserve, our dear Audrey.
Audrey's pallbearers, please. cemetery. There's some rosemary here if you'd like to place that on Audrey's casket. Rosemary signifies remembrance. Would you like to come to the cemetery first? I'll stay here for maybe 5 or 10 minutes and then we'll move.
Well, you can keep it as the montage of photos. You can get a copy of it.
You did very well.
I'll come down and see you.
Usually in relation to this.
No, this is small family photos that I haven't seen. Right, I'll come in
I'll just head around it.
There'll be a mission for you. Well, it's out too, that's worse. Yeah.
Drop them off sometime. And I'll come and get some secret sauce.